online meeting ever, but I know him from California when we were both very young in sobriety, and I think I knew him before he got sober even. So I'm really happy to have Zachary joining us today. I'm unmuting you, Zachary, so you're, nope. There you are.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Zachary. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Zachary.
Hi, Zach.
So thank you, Molly, for asking me to speak. This is the first time I've done this, so it's a little weird, but it's pretty cool at the same time. So quickly, my sobriety date is November 25th, 2005. And I got sober in Santa Cruz, California. I live in San Francisco now, which is just about an hour and a half north of Santa Cruz. And my first meeting was when I was 19 years old. I really didn't start drinking. I say didn't, it was kind of early, I guess, for some people, but until I was 15. And then I went to my first meeting when I was 19. It was by accident. I had a friend who was 10 years older than me who had gone to a meeting and decided they wanted to get sober. And then, you know, kind of told me that they needed to have some boundaries with me because I was still actively drinking and using other substances. And so we kind of stopped being friends for a while. Eventually, I saw them really start to change, you know, like the light came on in their eyes. They were talking about God. They were talking about gratitude all of the time. And it sure looked more attractive than what I was experiencing. My life at that time was I pretty much had alienated myself from all of my friends, which I would say most of them were these amazing people that I had built friendships with over the years. And over time, I just destroyed each relationship because I stole from them. I threatened to kill them. I just did a lot of crazy stuff. I was totally insane when I drank and used. A little bit about my childhood. I grew up in an alcoholic home. And I say that not because that's what made me an alcoholic, but I saw, you know, what happened when somebody drank alcohol very early on, who had a problem with it. I won't say who that person is, but they're in my immediate family. And they raged, they were insane. Basically, when I started drinking, I acted just like them. And I always said that I would never be like them. But unfortunately, that's the way that my body and mind respond to alcohol as well. Unfortunately. So I grew up feeling, well, I think my early years, I kind of felt okay. I was very imaginative. I was a creative kid. I loved school. And then, you know, maybe around age 10 is when I really started getting teased a lot at school. And I didn't really understand what that was all about, but I knew that other people saw something in me that I didn't really see, but whatever it was bad, apparently. So I started really retreating. I started really feeling depressed, not and terrified, honestly, like not wanting to go to school. So fast forward, when I first started drinking and using, it was such a relief for me because I felt like I didn't have to think about any of that anymore. I could just let go. I could talk to anybody. And that also I could just like be a total rebel, which I really loved because I was always so tight, tight woven that I just loved being a free spirit. And that's what I felt like alcohol did for me in the beginning. So, like I said, there were consequences from the very beginning. The very first night I ever drank, um, I got into this verbal altercation with somebody, and that guy took a bat to my friend's car, who they thought it was my car. But anyway, just to say that the very first time I drank, there was serious consequences, and those continued. Um, I didn't have a job at that time. I didn't have money because I was a teenager. So I didn't have these like material things to lose because I hadn't gained them yet. But I certainly lost any sense of self that I had. The other thing I'll say is that this really coincided with me coming out of the closet. So I I came out around the same time I started drinking and using, and I don't think that that's an accident. I think, like I said, I was just looking for relief, and yeah, basically, alcohol allowed me to say like "f you" to everybody, and that felt really good, but it really didn't get me what I wanted, which was, I think just to be accepted and loved by other people, which is what I think a lot of us want. Um, so I went to that first meeting. It was a Thursday night. It was a LGBTAA meeting, and it was probably about 30 people and a lot of old timers, people with 30 years. And at that time, when you first go to your first meeting and you hear people that say they have like 30 days, you're just like, what? Like, how? How are you sober for 30 days? So 30 years, I don't even think I heard that. I just was like, you're an alien or something. I don't know. But I I saw people laughing. I saw people connecting with each other. And there was also some drama that happened at the meeting that night. I don't know what happened. Something happened, but that was very attractive to me too, because I loved drama, of course. And so I thought, I'm going to keep coming back here because I want to know what's going on. Like, these people are kind of feisty, and I want to be here. We say it's the best show in town, and it is. So I would go to a meeting, once a week or once every couple weeks. And people would tell me, think about getting a sponsor, and working the steps. And I just thought, no, that's not for me. So I did, AA my way for a long time. I would say for 2 years. I would pretty much just go to meetings. I was still actively drinking during periods of that. I would get these brief bouts of sobriety where I would I would hit a bottom, and then I would say, okay, I'm going to do this time. And then I would get 30 days, or I would get 60 days, and I'd pick up a chip, and I was so proud of that chip, which I think we should be, but I think I was it was not humble. I was very like, I'm going to show you. It wasn't, I don't know if I was really doing it for me yet and really willing to do the work. So I just kind of did the 1 foot in, 1 foot out thing for a while, and I kept drinking. It just didn't work. And eventually, there were a few people, like I would say, that were kind of, hardline, no BS type people. One person, I ran into one day outside of a meeting, and she said to me, why don't you just go finish drinking and then come back when you're good and ready? And I was like, you're crazy. You're rude, first of all. But there was something that statement did to me. It made me, I don't know, it really made me want it more. So I started getting commitments, and that's when things really started shifting for me in sobriety. My first commitment was a coffee commitment, and I remember feeling so proud of making this coffee because I didn't even know how to make coffee at that time. Now I'm a caffeine junkie, but I would set out the coffee so nicely and the cookies, and people were always like, oh, thank you, Zachary. And it was like the first time that I really felt like people wanted to see me. People were happy to see me. People weren't running the other way. And that's when I started to, I think, have some self-esteem. And, we say in AA, you get self-esteem by doing esteemable acts. And that's really the turning point for me. So I did get sober that time, but it wasn't the last time. What happened was I got into a relationship when I was 3 months sober because I was really cute. And slowly but surely, I made this person my higher power. I stopped going to meetings, stopped doing service, and I was more crazy in sobriety at that time than I was drinking. I mean, crazy. And so I eventually picked up because I was so untreated with AA. I was just running, self-will will run riot. That it was almost like I didn't even have a choice. I just went for the bottle, and that was the worst period of my drinking ever, and it lasted about 4 months. And nothing was really special about the last day that I drank. In fact, I think I only had like one little shot of something. It wasn't like I had said, I'm going to get sober on this date, or I'm going to throw everything away, or it was just, I made a decision that day that I was surrendering fully to my higher power and to the program, which I think at that time, the program was my higher power. You all and the program was my higher power. So, and it was not easy. Let me just say, it was not easy that time. The first time around, I felt like I had a pink cloud. It just felt kind of easy. And this time, like, I was just hating it for a while, but I knew it was the only option for me if I wanted to live. So I was very willing, but I was still pretty bitter. And I was able to finish my community college degree, and then never planned on moving to San Francisco, but that's where sobriety brought me. So I ended up coming up here to finish my undergraduate degree. And, I was embraced immediately by the sobriety community here. We have hundreds and hundreds of meetings all over the city, every day of the week, all day long. So there's no excuse for not going to a meeting. Um, our like Alano Club is 2 blocks from my house, so I have no excuse. So I got very involved in service here, and um, I would say I went to at least one, sometimes two, sometimes three meetings a day for the first 2 to 3 years of my sobriety. Um, I didn't sleep a lot in my first couple years. I would wake up at 4 a.m. And I would just lay there, and then I would go to a 7 a.m. meeting because I was already awake. I don't do that anymore because I love sleep now. But that was early sobriety for me. So it's been quite a journey. I don't know how to sum up 14 years in a few minutes, but what I can say is that, it talks about in the big book that we have a spiritual experience, we have a spiritual awakening, and it also talks about, the spiritual awakening being like of the educational variety and kind of being this ongoing process. And that's certainly been true for me. I haven't had this one specific awakening. It's been a series of several that continue to happen as long as I am open to seeing them daily, honestly, in my life. There's been many times where I have been seriously down, maybe even considered going out and turn the corner and there's somebody from a meeting. It's like that's my higher power working in my life for sure. I have a sponsor that I work with. We meet weekly. We actually meet Monday nights at 6:30. So I rescheduled with him this week. He was more than happy to reschedule. And I have 2 sponsees I work with, meet with them weekly as well. And we work the steps. They have sponsees. And I still have service commitments because when I don't want to go to a meeting, um, I have a reason I have to go, you know. So what else can I say? I think I just have a few more minutes. So I'll just say, the last year has been one of the most challenging years of my sobriety. My brother was in a fatal motorcycle accident in September. He is alive. He died actually twice, but they brought him back. But he is blind now. He lost a leg. He, I think he might qualify as one of us, but luckily, I don't. It wasn't his fault. He wasn't under the influence. Nothing like that. But it certainly was this life-changing event for me and my entire family. The silver lining in all of this is that I got to show up for the entire thing. As hard as it was, I was there through the entire thing from the moment he was brought into the ER till the day we brought him home. And I was there advocating that they keep him alive, that he get the best medical care, that the insurance cover him, all of these things that I've actually learned how to do because of sobriety. And yeah, I just want to share that because I never thought about drinking or using during that time, but it certainly has been something that I just can't even put into words. It totally derailed my life. And because I have shown up for my work, you know, leading up to that, I was able to take time to be there. That would have never happened if I would have been drinking and using. I would have probably not been present at all. So, yeah, I just want to say that I truly believe that, yeah, I believe that anyone can do this, that anyone can do this program and get sober and stay sober, because I've seen it happen. And my case is certainly testament to that. So, yeah, if there is anybody listening, watching that is struggling or thinks that maybe you can't do this, I'm telling you that you can. It takes time sometimes, but you got to just keep trying, and you got to reach out. You got to ask for help, and we will help you. That's the fact. And this is like no community in the world. So I think with that, I'll wrap it up. And I think the topic will be spiritual awakening.
Thanks.